Hey guys, so here's part 3 of the 2.7 Extension Day 2 notes. We're graphing piecewise function. So there is a certain type of piecewise function, what we call is a step function. This is defined by a constant value over each part of its domain. So the constant values can either increase with each step or they can decrease. So it's kind of going to look like either stairs, like going up the stairs or down the stairs when we do step functions. So all we're going to have here are going to be horizontal lines. And this can also include, like, they could be rays, they could be segments, all that stuff. So we're going to graph the following function. Now notice for all of them, they are all just constant values. Well, that means we are going to be graphing a step function. So we are still going to do an XY table, so we make sure that we're either drawing a ray or segment, and make sure we're using the correct open and closed circles. Okay, so on the -4 here, notice that our restriction is x is less than -5. So remember, we always start at the restriction. Now, since x is less than, that means we want numbers smaller. So we're going to have -6, -7, -8. So because we just have horizontal rays and segments, that means the -4, that's going to be the y value for each of these x. Now for our starting point, -5, -4, is that going to be open or closed? It is going to be open because if we look at the inequality, there's no less or no equal sign to it. And so notice, since there's only one part to our restriction, this is going to represent a ray. So we're going to go ahead and graph that. So I have -5, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 down, 1, 2, 3, 4, open circle. And then don't forget, everything else is closed because it's included. It's just the starting point is not included. And so because we only have one part, as I said, we have a ray, so make sure you have the arrow. Okay, now we're going to do the next one. 1. Now notice there are two parts. We have -5 and -1. So I do need to include both of them. And I would just say just have maybe 2 points in between, and it doesn't matter what those 2 points are. So I could use like -4 and -2. So for this, because we have a constant value, all the y values are going to be 1. Now because we have two parts, that means we are going to have a segment. On our first starting point, notice that with the inequality, we have -5 less than or equal to x, which is less than -1. On the -5, there is an equal bar, so this is going to be a closed circle. Okay, so I have -5, 1. But on our second starting point, on that -1, there's no equal bar. So actually, that's going to be an open circle. And as I said, because there are two parts to the restriction, this is going to be a segment. Okay, so I go to -5, and then I go up 1. So that's going to be a closed circle. And then I basically do -4, -3 would be the same, -2. -1, 1 is going to be an open circle. So I go from the closed to the open, and there's no arrows because it's a segment. Now my last one is going to be at 7, and so this one also has two parts, so it is going to be a segment. So I start at my first one of -1, and I go to +4. And remember, just pick 2 points in between, so I can use 0, and then we can use 3. Now because my number is constant, that means that's going to be the y value for all of these. For my first point of -1, 7, notice that on the inequality, there is an equal bar, so it is going to be closed. However, on my second starting point, because that does not have an equal bar on the 4, it's going to be open. And since I have two parts to my restriction, it is going to be a segment. So I go to -1, I go up 7, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and that's going to be closed, closed, and then all the way to 4. That's going to be open. As I connect my closed to the open, everything else is closed, and there we have it. So that would be our step function. Okay, make sure you guys work on your homework assignment. If you do have any questions, make sure you contact me. I'll see you guys later.